You've been hearing the stories recently, but Dubai, big plans to eventually become a cashless city. The Dubai cashless strategy will eventually mean that all payments in the city across both government and private sectors will go digital. And it might be sooner than you think. The initiative, we first got mention of it, first announced back in October 2024, aims to ditch notes and coins for digital payments throughout the Emirates. In fact, we had an update at the beginning of this week, which was brought to us by the Dubai Media Office, suggesting that 90% of all financial transactions across both public and private sectors in Dubai will be cashless by the end of this year. Is that feasible? Is that doable? And what's it look like for all of us? Let's get some expert opinion on this one from the team at Sovereign PPG. Sovereign is a leading business formation and support company with numerous offices across the region here, and a very active one right here in the UAE. And joining us on behalf of Sovereign today is the senior client accountant at Sovereign PPG, Samir Ansari. Samir, really appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Tom, for having me.
Can we just do a quick overview on this one? I mean, we're going to get on to the details shortly. Mm-hmm. But in terms of a business reality of going cashless, is this inevitable for places like Dubai and elsewhere?
Yeah, well, from a business perspective, we are largely cashless. So businesses are preferring cashless transactions, more digital payments, because, it's easier to track the transactions for audit purposes, for VAT purposes. So, as a cashless economy, Dubai is already there. It has been for the past couple of years. The infrastructure is already in place. So for businesses like, for example, Sovereign, we have stopped receiving cash from our customers for the past 6 years now. So we are already there. So it won't be a huge shift. It's rather formalizing what's already there in the market. It's more for formalizing it rather than, a sudden shift from a cash-based economy to a cashless economy.
These targets that we got, I mean, again, we've been knowing about the cashless strategy for a while, but the targets reiterated yesterday. The Department of Finance and others suggesting 90% of all transactions by the end of the year will be cashless. That seems ambitious to me, given there is a culture of cash here as well. Is that achievable by the end of this year?
Yeah, well, that's for the authorities to decide. But what we have seen in terms of businesses is that businesses do prefer doing cashless transactions. Again, because it's easier for audits. It's easier for FTA purposes and VAT purposes to have traceable transactions in your company. If you have cash transactions, if your business is cash incentive, there's always risk for AML. There's always risk for frauds. So going cashless also benefits the business as well as it benefits the economy. So I believe it's achievable, but again, it will be down to the authorities. What are they planning, and the authorities will tell us what the plans are. But the infrastructure is already in place.
Let's just make a point here, because you and I are looking at this a lot from a business point of view. It's a business that you know all too well. A lot of our listeners out there might go, hang on, I've got 200 dirhams in cash in my pocket. Is that going to become irrelevant by the end of this year? Cash will still exist, won't it?
Yeah, cash will still exist. We're talking about, larger payments, so petty cash transactions. Small businesses, small retailers will be able to, use cash for their transactions. For, daily customers will be able to use cash, but on a larger scale. So that's why the figure of 90% is there, right? So in a larger scale, so a larger view of economy. So cashless, Dubai is still there, right? So, we are still, moving in the right direction. Again, it's due to the increased regulatory compliance, internal controls that are being implemented. So that's why. And we have seen from our experiences that, small retailers, they are also responsible for VAT as well. So whenever FTA comes back with an audit, so it's always difficult for them to, justify those audits because they are cash intensive.
So let's explain that to listeners and viewers. Why is cashless so important for compliance when it comes to businesses?
Yeah, for compliance, first of all, it's easier to trace. So any transaction which is easier to trace is, always helps businesses in justifying their, where the source of funds are coming from. Because as you know, you can see there are a lot of AML, regulations that are
AML
coming.
is...
And anti-money laundering.
Yeah, okay.
So a lot of anti-money laundering regulations are in place from the Ministry of Finance and, throughout the world, right? So, and also from a VAT perspective, if you see that UAE is about to introduce e-invoicing, right? So for B2B customers, business to business invoicing must be, done through e-invoicing starting from, this year, July onwards. So that's, again, if a business is invoicing through invoicing, so the payment must be traceable. That is why, that cashless thing is, coming more and more, and, Dubai is looking to formalize it more and more, and, it's going into the right direction.
Yeah, and obviously we're getting regular updates on the new VAT structure here for corporate structures and businesses. Does it also make auditing and reporting more efficient as well if you have a cashless policy within your business?
Yeah, absolutely it does, because audit is all about having having trackable transactions. And if you see and in terms of VAT audits, because in audits you can justify, and in FTA it comes with penalties, right? Straightforward penalties. So you have to justify your VAT transactions. So it's very important for businesses to trace those transactions back. And for accountants, it's easier because you need to do less reconciliations if you are cashless, and if you're doing cash transactions, it's a bit more difficult to do cash reconciliations. You have multiple bank accounts, you have multiple stores and retails. You have to do cash reconciliations, and if you are doing it through digital means, then it's easier for accountants as well.
Advice, if we can, for businesses out there that haven't really thought about this at the moment. Obviously, momentum is moving. We know that Dubai is pushing to become one of the world's top 5 cashless cities, and they are touching those milestones at the moment. What should businesses consider moving forward here?
Yeah, businesses should consider. I believe there's nothing much to consider because most of the businesses are already there.
Okay.
Yeah, but so it's more like formalizing what's already there. So again, it will be most impacting the small retailers, and the petty cash transactions are mostly used with the small retailers. So obviously the infrastructure is there, it's in place. So as far as the businesses are concerned, I don't think so there will be a major shift from going cash to cashless.
Yeah, we've seen a number of workshops down in DIFC. Dubai Finance have done those as well. Big announcements also coming from Emirates and Fly Dubai. So again, I go back to the point that we're talking about businesses, but this could also impact tourists coming into the city, and we will get to a point when most of the transactions you and I do, business or otherwise, are going to be cashless, correct?
Yeah, that's right. And also tourists do prefer, doing car transactions because, it's easier for them to track their spending. Also, one of the main thing is refunds, right? So if you are coming into Dubai and you are spending, and if you want a refund, so it's easier to get a refund if you are paying through trackable, traceable payments, because, it's easier for the companies for them to track those transactions and then refund you if any refund is required. So it's good for tourists as well. But again, cash is not going away. It's still here.
It'll still be legal tender.
Yeah. It's a legal tender. It will continue to exist, but we're talking about 90% of the economy. So still 10% still there.
Don't keep it under the bed, all right? Make sure it's in an account or something. Samir, really appreciate it. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
Thank you very much.
Samir Ansari, Senior Client Accountant at Sovereign PPG, talking about Dubai cashless strategy.